Well, Acoustic Remedy Cases is really the classic American story of two guys in a garage tinkering, trying to figure out a solution to a problem that they had. It all really started with my wife. She was sick of looking at these black guitar cases in the living room, but I needed to keep my guitars in the case so they would stay humidified. But they're kind of ugly. She said, time for them to get out of the living room. So I made a deal with her. I said, if I get the cases out here, can I buy a display case? And I had this picture in my head of what this display case should look like. And I went onto the internet, looked everywhere, and I couldn't find it. So I figured, well, nobody's invented this. So I put together a drawing. I brought it to Adam. I brought a sketch to Adam. And we put together some drawings, kind of made it a little bit more formal. We brought it down to his dad, who's a cabinet maker, and he helped us make the first prototype. And that's how Acoustic Remedy Cases was born.
We brought the drawings down to my dad after we had kind of worked on some crude dimensions, and we came up with the very first prototype of the product. It was pretty funny looking. You know, actually it was just a shell with a couple dowels in the bottom of it. We brought that back to our wives and they just laughed at us, you know. They did not think we were onto anything, but Ryan and I were convinced, so we stuck with it. We went back down and we created the next version of the prototype, which was actually something usable. We could put a guitar into it and we could, you know, kind of see the dimensions at play, determine if it was going to work or not. And then we said, okay, this looks pretty good. So we went back down, and that was the first time that we bought some lumber and created the you know, very workable prototype that has changed slightly since then, but essentially has remained pretty much the same.
We spent about 3/4 of the summer building these cases out in the garage, eating sawdust, and we decided that we would launch this product at a little bluegrass festival up in the hills around here called Larry Fest. And so we brought our cases there. We had a little tent set up next to the stage, and there was a guy there, and he introduced himself. His name is Paul Tiemann. And it turns out that this guy is the owner of a company called String Swing, and they make all those little guitar hangers that you see at every guitar store. And he told us on Saturday night, he said, you know what, guys? You shouldn't be making these cases. You should be selling these cases. I know somebody that can build them for you. So eventually, Paul introduced us to the Amish. And once the Amish started making the cases, then we could really kind of scale up a little bit. And that's actually when the business part of Acoustic Remedy Cases started.
The first time that we went out to the Amish shop was quite the experience. They do things a lot differently out there. Obviously, most people know that, but you don't really realize it till you actually enter their world. So we walked in with our prototypes. He was kind of aware of what we wanted him to do, but he wasn't quite sure. So we kind of laid it out on the table, hashed out some details, and I believe it was in the middle of the winter time. You know, it was freezing cold. He had to light his lantern, and we're like, you know, over in the corner, kind of like, what are we doing here, you know? Is this really how this is gonna go? Is this gonna get us anywhere? Is this really what we wanna do? We had explored a few options with other manufacturers in town, such as like cabinet shops to make these. And it was pretty clear after the first time that we were out there that we were in the right spot. They're obviously renowned for their woodworking skills and different things that they can do that actually enhanced our product. In the end, after the first meeting, we were convinced that we were ready to move forward, so we placed an order right away for, I think it was 10 to 15 cases.
One really cool thing about Acoustic Remedy Cases is that we're preserving American history. Our cases hold guitars that have been played by Johnny Cash, Pat Metheny, Wes Montgomery, but we're not just preserving the history of famous people, we're also preserving family history. You know, the quickest way to destroy a nice acoustic guitar is to leave it out exposed to the elements year after year. But if you put your guitar in one of our cases, it's going to be preserved. It's going to be in great condition to pass down to the next generation.